All right, so you sent me this article, and I thought it would be a good one for us to dive into.
Yeah, absolutely. This whole AI agent thing is really heating up.
Yeah, no kidding. It
Yeah.
seems like every company is jumping on the bandwagon.
And Workday is no exception. They're going all in on AI agents.
Yeah, and I had to chuckle when I read the part about how these AI agents are going to peacefully coexist with human workers.
Right, peacefully coexist.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the over-under on how long until coexist turns into replace?
Exactly right, because it's not like Workday has the greatest track record when it comes to, treating their employees well.
Well, yeah, I mean, they did just lay off, what, like 1,750 employees?
Yeah, 1750 to free up resources for AI development or something like that.
Yeah, so much for peaceful coexistence.
Right, it's like, don't worry, your job is totally safe. For now, wink, wink.
Exactly. So let's dig into this a little bit. What is Workday actually proposing here?
Well, according to their CEO, Carl Eschenbach, AI agents are going to become like digital employees.
Digital employees. Okay, so these digital employees are going to be doing what exactly?
Well, they're supposed to take over all the boring, repetitive tasks like processing expense reports, scheduling meetings, things like that.
So all the stuff that nobody wants to do anyway.
Exactly. It's all about freeing up humans for more strategic work, they say.
Right, because we all have so much free time to be strategic.
I know, right? I'm just drowning in strategic thinking time over here.
But okay, let's take them at their word for a minute. Let's say these AI agents can actually do all that stuff. What does that mean for the average worker?
Well, that's where the whole reskilling argument comes in.
Reskilling as in we all need to go back to school and learn how to code or something.
Pretty much, yeah. The idea is that AI will automate all the low-level tasks, and then humans will need to upskill to take on more complex roles.
And everyone has the time and resources to do that, right?
Of course not. But hey, that's not Workday's problem, right?
No, their problem is selling more software and making more money.
Exactly. And if they can convince everyone that AI agents are the future of work, well, then they're in a good position to profit from that.
So it's all about following the money as usual.
Pretty much. But, I'm actually kind of curious to hear what their CEO has to say about all this.
Yeah, me too.
That whole thing about AI agents, peacefully coexisting with human workers.
Right, and I think it's worth digging into that a little bit more. Like, what does that actually mean?
Yeah, because on the surface, it sounds kind of nice, right? Like you have your AI assistant handling all the boring stuff.
Right, like imagine you get to work and your AI agent has already sorted through your emails, scheduled your meetings, and, booked your travel.
Yeah, and it's like ordered you lunch and picked out your outfit for the day.
Right, exactly. Like you can just focus on the important stuff.
Yeah, the strategic thinking and all that.
But, I can't help but think there's got to be a downside to all this, right? Like it can't all be rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that comes to mind is the whole surveillance aspect, right? Like if your AI agent is tracking everything you do.
Right, and, measuring your productivity and, basically keeping tabs on you all the time.
Yeah, it's like Big Brother, but instead of the government, it's your AI assistant.
Exactly. And then there's the whole question of accountability. Like, if the AI agent makes a mistake, who's responsible?
Right, like, do you fire the AI agent? Give it a performance review.
I mean, it's not a person, right? So who do you hold accountable?
And, another thing that worries me is the psychological impact. Like, what happens when we're constantly being compared to these, hyper-efficient AI agents?
Right, like, are we all going to start feeling inadequate and, like, we're not good enough?
Yeah, because the AI agent never gets tired, it never makes mistakes, it never complains.
Right, so it's like, how can we possibly compete with that?
And, even if we don't lose our jobs to AI agents, I think there's still a risk that we'll become, de-skilled and less valuable as workers.
Right, because if the AI agents are doing all the complex stuff, then what's left for us to do?
Right, exactly. So it's like this whole AI agent thing is really a mixed bag, right?
Yeah.
There's some potential benefits, but there are also some serious risks.
And I think it's important to be aware of both sides of the coin, before we just blindly embrace this technology.
Absolutely. So let's take a step back for a minute and look at the bigger picture. Like, what's happening in the tech industry as a whole?
Well, as the article mentioned, it's not just Workday that's pushing AI agents.
Right. Salesforce, ServiceNow, Microsoft, Oracle, they're all getting in on the action.
So this is clearly a trend that's here to stay.
It seems like AI is going to be a major part for future of work, whether we like it or not.
And I think the question is, how do we prepare for that future? How do we make sure that AI is used in a way that benefits everyone?
Right, because right now it seems like the companies are the ones who are going to benefit the most from all this.
Yeah, the workers are the ones who are at risk of being left behind.
So we need to find a way to make that doesn't happen.
Absolutely. So I think that's a good place to leave it. For now, we've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, we have. And I think we've raised some important questions that we need to keep thinking about.
So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some potential solutions. Okay, so, we've talked a lot about the potential benefits and risks of AI agents.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to get caught up in all the, the hypothetical stuff.
Right, like what does this actually mean for me in my day-to-day work?
Exactly. Like, how do I actually prepare for this, AI-powered future?
Well, I think, one of the most important things is to keep learning, to keep developing new skills.
Right, because the skills that are in demand today, they might not be in demand tomorrow.
Exactly. So, it's all about being adaptable and, being willing to learn new things.
Okay, but how do I even know what skills to learn? The tech landscape is changing so fast.
Yeah, it's tough. But I think, one thing you can do is to, just stay informed about what's happening in your industry.
Okay, so, read industry publications, go to conferences, things like that.
Exactly. And, there are also a lot of great resources available online, like online courses and boot camps and things like that.
Right, so it's not like you have to go back to college or anything.
No, not at all. But, you do have to be proactive and, take ownership of your own learning.
Okay, so that's on an individual level.
Mm-hmm.
But what about on a a company level? What can organizations do to make sure that AI is used ethically?
Well, I think one of the most important things is transparency. Companies need to be open about how they're using AI and what data they're collecting.
Right, because right now it's kind of like a black box.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really know what's going on behind the scenes.
Exactly, and that's not a good thing because it creates mistrust and it makes it hard for people to feel comfortable with this technology.
And, I think it's also important to have, some kind of ethical framework in place, like some guidelines for how AI should be used.
Absolutely, because, if we just leave it up to the companies, they're going to prioritize profits over everything else.
Right, exactly. So we need to make sure that, human values are at the forefront of this whole AI revolution.
And, that's not going to be easy, but I think it's absolutely essential.
So to wrap things up, I think it's clear that AI is going to have a major impact on the future of work.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
And, there are a lot of unknowns, but I think, if we approach this with caution and with a focus on, human well-being.
Right. And, with a commitment to ethical principles.
Exactly. Then, I think we can create a future where AI, actually benefits everyone.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good note to end on.
Well, thanks for diving deep with us today, and to our listeners. Keep thinking about these issues, keep asking questions, and, let's work together to shape a future of work that, is fair and equitable for everyone.